Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy, and I'm an ordained minister, and we're in Bible study. We're in the NIV. We are in this video. We are in Numbers, chapter 15. Okay, so supplementary offerings. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, after you enter the land I am giving you as a home, and you present to the Lord offerings made by fire from the herd or the flock as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, whether burnt offering or sacrifices for special vows, or freewill offerings or festival offerings, then the one who brings his offering shall present to the Lord a grain offering, a tenth of an ephah of fine flour mixed with a quart of a hin of oil." All right, so they give us a footnote of hin. Like, that made me confused because, I thought hin was a measurement, or that is. It just means hin means that is. A quart of a hin of oil. With each lamb for the burnt offering or sacrifice, prepare a quart of hin of wine as a drink offering. With a ram, prepare a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with a third of a hin of oil and a third of a hin of water as a drink offering. Offer it as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. So the first time they said ephah in this particular setting, because they did give different measurements, normally do say what the measurement means. A tenth of an ephah, it is that is probably about 2 quarts, whereas for the second time that we hear it, because it's got a different measurement attached to it, so that is probably about 4 quarts or 4.5 liters. 2 quarts and 2 liters. It's interesting how those ones are the same amount of measurement. When you prepare a young bull, verse 8, when you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering or a sacrifice for a special vow or fellowship offering, traditionally called the peace offering, to the Lord, bring with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah. Okay. 3/10 of an ephah. That is probably about 6 quarts or 6.5 liters of fine flour mixed with half a hin each. That is probably about 2 quarts or 2 liters of oil. So it is a unit of measure somehow. Also bring half a hin of wine as a drink offering. It will be an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Each bull or ram, each lamb or young goat is to be prepared in this manner. Do this for each one, for as many as you prepare. Everyone who is native born must do these things in this way when he brings an offering made by fire as an aroma pleasing to the Lord for the generations to come. Whenever an alien or anyone else living among you presents an offering made by fire as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, he must do exactly as you do." Now, because remember, when we get to this point here, we have gone from it's just Aaron and his 2 sons doing things to it's all of the Levites everywhere, and now we're talking about 22,000 people they're feeding, plus families, every single day. The community is to have the same rules for you as for the alien living among you. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. You and the alien shall be the same before the Lord. So if you're following these customs, while you're in their land and you're doing these sacrifices, doing those things, then you get the same, forgiveness of sins. You get the same covering of stuff. It's not really necessarily about a specific bloodline, he's saying there. It's about who's worshiping or not. If the alien is worshiping them, they're going to get the coverage. that the children of Abraham are getting. The same laws and regulations will apply both to you and to the alien living among you. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land to which I am taking you, and you eat the food of the land, present a portion as an offering to the Lord. Present a cake from the first of your ground meal, and present it as an offering from the threshing floor. Throughout the generations to come, you are to give this offering to the Lord from the first of your ground meal." Offerings of unintentional sins. Now, I will say with this, having a grain harvest and having it be a ritual is common in this era that they're living in all over the globe. The grain may change depending upon what the prominent grain is in that area, but it's totally normal. In the Celtic culture, it's called lugnasa, and that's what it is. You literally bake bread, and it's to with a particular ritual, with a particular intention of sharing and celebrating, but that's what that one is called on that continent. There's going to be others with different places, so this is just part of what this is for this particular culture. Offerings for unintentional sins. Now, if you unintentionally fail to keep any of these commands the Lord gave Moses, any of the Lord's commands to you through him, from the day the Lord gave them and continuing through the generations to come, and if this is done unintentionally without the community being aware of it, then the whole community is to offer a young bull for a burnt offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. So that there would be a case of if in the entire community of Israel decided that they were going to engage in a behavior that is strictly against some sort of Mosaic law, a burnt offering could be made for the whole community as sacrifice to make up for this mass sin. And that's in case anything starts affecting them and they don't know who it is. Really. Along with its prescribed grain offering and drink offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement for the whole Israelite community, and they will be forgiven, for it was not intentional. And they have brought to the Lord for their wrong an offering made by fire and a sin offering. The whole Israelite community and the aliens living among them will be forgiven because all the people were involved in the unintentional wrong. Like I said, that's like sort of realizing that some rule that you had forever was hurting people. So then you ask for forgiveness, you change that rule, and then you change the rule, you ask for forgiveness, you make the offering. You can't really ask for forgiveness while you're intending to continue to commit the sin. I mean, you can try, but I wouldn't want to see what his reaction is. He doesn't like that stuff. But that's not on me, because, that's between you and him. But if just one person sins unintentionally, he must bring a year-old female goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement before the Lord for the one who erred by sinning unintentionally, and when atonement has been made for him, he will be forgiven. One and the same law applies to everyone who sins unintentionally, whether he is native-born Israelite or an alien, but anyone who sins defiantly, whether native-born or alien, blasphemes the Lord, and that person must be cut off from his people. Because he has despised the Lord's word and broken his command, that person must surely be cut off. His guilt remains on him. Because, he's not even trying to not sin. The Sabbath breaker put to death. Like, wow, okay. While the Israelites were in the desert, a man found gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly. And they kept him in custody because it was not clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, the man must die. The whole assembly must stone him outside the camp. So the assembly took him outside the camp and stoned him to death, as the Lord commanded. I mean, he was probably just trying to start a fire for his house, but okay. Tassels on garments. Because glad we don't live in this anymore. It's because of Christians, we don't have to live in all of this. Tassels on garments. The Lord said to Moses, speak to the Israelites and say to them, throughout the generations to come, you are to make tassels on the corners of your garments, with blue cord on each tassel. You will have these tassels to look at, and so you will remember all the commands of the Lord, that you may obey them, and not prostitute yourselves by going after the lusts of your own hearts and eyes. Then you will remember to obey all my commands, and will be consecrated to your God. And I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. The tassels, yes, very much so a big deal. Also, part of like a symbol. It's a symbol of devotion. In the TV show The Chosen, they made a big deal out of that with Peter. If you saw it, they were subtly showing it as he got called, after he got called the Rock. They started showing you these scenes where you can see part of like Peter's leg and the end of his sort of tunic where the tassels now are hanging off where they weren't before. So they're a sign of devotion to your faith as well, especially during, especially during the time of the Messiah. So until the next video, friends.